Meeting to order for the purpose of a work session for the board. We welcome everyone in attendance and those who are viewing the meeting live stream. Thank you for being here. Our first order of business is public comment, and I don't see any public comment. So after public comment, we'll do the PCC. Wait, is this the right meeting?
Nope, probably not.
This is not.
12-9.
This is the one that came, I need to go to this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Still a new system.
Hopefully it won't make me, hopefully I won't have to log in again. Because I think I was.
Well, if we're going to have any glitches, today's a good day to have.
Yeah, this is true.
We would have like
Is
10
it
people
this?
out there.
Oh, it's, oh, okay.
5, 6, 7. Only 7.
And they're all professionals.
That's right.
Just want my-
Is the internet kind of slow today, or is it just, it was all of us?
Tammy?
Cammy, okay.
They're professionals.
Okay, we're going to do
Oh,
a special meeting for
They're
action.
professionals, we're just not
Okay.
district level administrators. Yeah.
They're all over doing that.
Okay, so it's really
Oh,
for the
my
purpose of a
goodness, yeah.
special meeting, or do we go into the
I
special
mean,
meeting
there's a
after?
couple others who probably take his place, but
Yeah, he's got
Okay,
a
so
personality too.
I will convene the special meeting for action. The first item is to consider approving the donation for, between the district and the city of Pocatello regarding the funding for Highland High School tennis courts. The administration will review the information. Okay. We have reviewed the information. Thought I was supposed to read that. So are there any, does anybody want to present this? I noticed it said 500,000 in the contract. Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, so it is 500,000 and 50% of the construction cost.
Oh, in addition to the 500?
Not in addition, or
Oh,
That would go towards.
there were
Oh,
towards
okay.
50%.
whatever is the, whatever.
Sorry, I didn't say
So
that.
let-
Max is 500,000.
We're gonna get 500,000, and that will go towards half of the construction cost.
So if it only comes to 800,000, they only give 400,000.
No, they're gonna give us the whole 500.
Oh, they're gonna
We'll
give-
keep the 100 as
For maintenance.
upkeep. Yep.
Yeah, it,
Okay.
So they'll have
Next.
basically a bonus of keeping us in the good. Does that make sense?
I think, okay.
Right, it says they're going to contribute 50% of the long-term maintenance costs, including
In
but not
addition to
limited to
that.
court resurfacing, net replacement, and other long-term maintenance needs.
So anything left over to that 500,000 will go towards that.
I see.
And we'll keep ledger and
Yep.
keep track with the
Okay.
city
And
on
then
that.
moving forward, anything that we do, they'll take responsibility for 50%.
Oh, cool.
any damages and just anything.
Maintenance, yeah.
So then the logistics of scheduling the courts, or, I mean, the school has first right of refusal? or-
So we
Yep.
have during the school year, we'll have first rights and we'll have it with our Facilitron for rentals. During the summer, they'll take over.
I see.
Oh.
And we'll always have priority as a school. So if there's a camp or anything that the tennis team's putting on, we'll always have first priority.
Gotcha. And we haven't yet decided where.
We were, I was gonna talk about that in SIP. Yeah.
What's that?
I was gonna talk about that in the SIP presentation.
Oh.
It'll be to the west. We haven't seen final drawings there, but in the west parking lot is where we're thinking about.
What it showed on.
A new property we
But I
bought.
want-
The new
The new-
property,
Okay,
sorry, yeah,
that's all I
across the
needed.
field, yeah,
Thank you.
sorry.
Great.
So, is there any other questions or discussion before I make a motion? Well, actually, I'll just ask for a motion. Is there a motion to approve the contract between the city and the school district?
I hereby move that the board approve the donation agreement between the Pocatello-Chubbuck School District Number 25 and the city of Pocatello as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I meant to say aye in favor. I hereby move that the board approve approve the donation agreement between Pocatello School District, Pocatello-Chubbuck School District 25 and the city of Pocatello. The second item is to consider approving federal program stipends request. So it's I don't know if you want to present this or if you want me to just say what it is. It's a memorandum detailing the federal program stipend requests of all the stipends that were paid in December and June, to be paid in December and June. So the administration has reviewed it and recommended that we pass it. So is there a motion to pass the federal program stipends request?
I hereby move that the board approve the federal program stipend requests as presented.
Is there a
Second.
second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed. Do I come out of, it doesn't say if I come out of special session right now.
Yeah, no, just convene the regular.
Okay,
board.
so I'll just convene a regular board meeting. So the first item on the agenda for the regular board meeting is a special education update. Janelle Harris. I had it right the first time. I panicked. Sorry.
Okay, I'll be real fast. Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Helmus Johnson, thank you. Just a brief update in our special education department. Our intervention resource committee is still working really hard. We've had some great conversation, some good productive collaboration. We're moving forward and going to get some support from some of our reading specialists here in the district as well, just to make sure that we have all the information we need to make a good decision on the resources that we use for ELA. Medicaid billing, good news, Medicaid billing is officially up and running. Reimbursements are finally starting to come in. A little less good news, education, this is good news, but education didn't take the 4% cut, but Medicaid made some creative adjustments to what they're doing. It doesn't necessarily impact our reimbursement. It impacts the back end work, which has increased a lot for us on the back end of that to ensure that we get our reimbursements at the same rate that we were. And so we're working really hard to make sure all of our paperwork side is up to date for them to continue to reimburse us at the same rate. So we're learning their new tricks slowly but surely. We've used these additional reimbursements to the district to increase staffing quite a bit in our district in the last few years. Just to name a few, 5 new special programs, which is 5 new teachers plus 4 paras for each of those classrooms for a special program. 2 new psychologists. We've had some SLP growth, new resource room teachers. Those are some of the bigger ones, but some additional supports within the classrooms as well. Student numbers for the year, just so you know, on the first day of school, we had 1,916 learners receiving special education service on that day. As of today, we are at 1,950. For context, we ended last year at 2021, then we had seniors graduate. Historically, we lose about 200 when they graduate. We lose about 200 students for special education. This year we only lost about 100, and we've gained 34 new learners since the first day of school, 12 from charter schools, 3 from private schools, 11 move-ins, and 8 returning from other placements, whether they were homebound or other things that they've come back into us. So we remain the district's most unintentional, fast-growing program. We love it. We had a training today for our school psychologists to work on some of our behavior stuff. That went really well. We also are contracting with a psychologist from ISU. She's amazing. She's going to help support 6 elementary schools and 2 of our middle schools with being kind of boots on the ground and actually going into classrooms and supporting teachers and giving immediate feedback of what we can do a little bit different, particularly in our Tier 1 and Tier 2 behavior interventions. We're headed into our state file review, so that means that the state will pull 10 IEP files and they'll review them for compliance and make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's a fast turnaround this year. We get the list of names that they want the files for on this Friday, and we have to have all 10 files and all documents uploaded by the 18th. So it's a real short turnaround. Usually we have about a month. So my team is geared up and ready to go as soon as they give us those names. So that's all I really have. Our SPED team is really doing truly amazing work, and they serve a great population, so kudos to them.
Thank you, Janelle. The next item is the capital improvements program plan information.
School district calendar.
Oh, sorry, sorry, school district calendar with AJ Watson. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit scattered, obviously.
Good afternoon, trustees. In your board packet, you have the recommended calendar proposal for the 2026-2027 school year. We met as a calendar committee, I believe it was right before the Thanksgiving break, November 18th or 19th. And then we met again last night on December 8th to finalize the recommendation that is before you today. As you look at the calendar, it's very similar to this year's calendar in regard to start and end dates and holidays, with a few PD days mixed in there, of most of which we are having the same dates this year as well. There is one small change that you'll notice in there at the beginning of the school year. This year we started with a soft start with our kindergarten learners. On the first day of school, they attended, only half of the learners attended on the first day, and then the second day, the other half of the learners attended. And then on the third day, all of the kindergarten learners attended. They found this was a change. In prior years, we'd had just one orientation day on the first day of school where kindergartners did not attend, and then all of the learners attended on the second day. The kindergarten teachers unanimously, for the most part, agreed that they really liked only having half the learners for at least one day to kind of teach them the routines and then what it looks like in the school and how to go through a lunch line, some of those basic things, how to hang up your backpack. It's nice not having a full classroom of learners, but they also found that it was really hard to do because they had to kind of reorganize and structure how they did their parent orientation day. And so one of the recommendations that came from not only the kindergarten group, but from the elementary calendar committee was if they could utilize that orientation day and then still have kind of a soft start where half of the learners were on one day, the other half of the learners on the next day. So in this calendar, it works out pretty well where on the 26th would be an orientation day for kindergarten only. So that would be no students would attend. It would just be teachers meeting with parents for an orientation day, getting all the busing and transportation information completed and ready to go so they know who's walking, who's riding what bus, getting everything organized and prepared. And then on the 27th, they would have half of the learners attend, and on the 28th, the other half would attend, and then on Monday, the 31st, all of those learners would attend for the first day. So call it a soft start to kindergarten. So that was the only change that's recommended as far as that goes. In this calendar, you can see school would start on Wednesday, the 26th with the learners and end on Thursday, June 3rd. Staff members would return to begin the school year on the 20th, and they would go through the 7th. Then you can see all of the holiday dates in there as well. And the district calendar committee is made up of district and school staff members, administrators, and then 2 board members were on the calendar committee as well and attended at the meeting.
All right.
Any questions about the calendar?
Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you. Oh, it will be up for action, I should say. It'll be up for your action at the board meeting next week. Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is policy 7318, use of social media, and the ISB model policy comparison. Brenda?
Good evening. We talked about this a little bit last time, and you wanted a little more of an opportunity to kind of look at the difference between the policies from ISBA and the one that we brought. So I was just wanted to kind of go through those with you a little bit. So our policy, one of the big things is, did you look at the ISBA one? And they have a procedure and a policy. So if you guys would like to touch base on that and see what you guys were going to talk about.
I noticed the one thing in the ISBA policy is that it has option 1 and option 2 of no use of social media or limited use. And I didn't see that in our policy. What is your thought? What are your thoughts?
That's interesting you said that. I had that down as well, that it says the use of social media during work hours or equipment, and they gave two options. If you notice that in the policy 5325 for ISBA, they have that highlighted in yellow. We don't have anything in our policy that talks about that. I think that this becomes a bigger issue. This is talking about the staff on if they're able to use social media during the school workday was one of the options. The first policy for ISBA says that they have no use during the workday, and then the second one talks about the limited use on district equipment. So I guess that would be something that you guys would, may want to discuss, but our policy is situated more on the premise of what happens on social media if a teacher is on social media or a staff member, or on the flip side of that, that they cover the same as ISBA when it deals with if we're going to start a social media group for a school or those types of things.
So when you're talking social media, you're talking textings and Facebook and those kind of things? Or are you talking when they want to just go on, if they want to pick up something to pull up for their lesson?
No, strictly anything that deals with social media like Facebook, those types of things. Not so much texting, but more Facebook, Instagram, those types.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought, but I just want to make sure.
Is it currently blocked on the school computers? Like they can't get to any of those sites, right?
Staff,
Yeah,
they can.
they can, okay.
I just noticed on our policy too, that one of the bullets isn't there that was before, and it just talks about introducing yourself as an employee of the district. And I think that's important that that stay in there, because when somebody says, I am a teacher at, it doesn't really matter which teacher you are. Whatever you say after that is a reflection upon the district. I'll just give it to you later. I
Okay.
did not bring it with me.
That's
so
okay.
I'll bring it to your, I'm sorry.
Did you say it was in our policy and now it's not?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay.
And I could be looking at a different spot. So,
Okay.
So I'll just look at it again and I'll bring it to you. Because I think that's kind of important too. If you identify yourself, I think it says identify yourself as a district employee, then anything you say is a reflection on the entire district, not just your opinion.
I went through it and found a couple. I don't know if you want my input on those, or because I know you guys were just looking at it from your perspective, but when I went through them, there's a couple differences that I see, and just to bring to your attention, and then you guys can kind of decide kind of what approach you want to take.
Yeah.
Does that work? Okay. So the second one is the first one was, it talks about the ISBA has in their district name, logo, or images. If you notice that, that's on the very top part of the board policy, and it's the second paragraph that says employees shall not use the district logo, images, that piece. We don't have anything in our policy that states anything about not using any of our formatting for anything of a personal standpoint. I don't know if you think that is an important piece of the social media policy or not, but that's one difference that I saw. The other one is the one that Deanna talked about during work hours, and you can see that. That's right there in the middle of the page, the first page. Also, there's an opportunity in the ISBA policy for the superintendent can shut down a site, meaning if there's a site that has been brought by a school or a function, that the superintendent has that ability to shut that down. And then, obviously, the main one I see is that there's a policy and a procedure for ISBA where we just have everything in one policy. And then the overall arching for me is that if you look at their policy, it's very strategically numbered. Like, we do this step 1, we do this step 2, and ours has a lot more in detailed examples of what you need to kind of shy away from or how you should represent yourself if you're a district employee. So I think it kind of boils down to the step-by-step procedure, especially you see that on the second page of ISBA's policy. You'll see what I mean by everything in the ISBA policy is very scripted. And then if you look at the dark green section on the first page of our policy, it gives more of an overview.
I noticed that. at first I kind of liked the format of the ISBA, but then I didn't want anything to be taken out that was important for you. And so it's kind of hard to, when you're switching back and forth, to fit. I guess it could be considered, included under this, or, but,
I think that that's where it comes down to, do you want it to be something that is your interpretation, or do you want it scripted?
Whose interpretation, the board?
I would say that when you look at our policy, a lot of things, they have everything that falls back under Idaho code, anything that falls under the code of ethics, and I think it's pretty spelled out at the very top of the second page. I think that then you would get the detail if you were to go in and look at those, as far as if that was something that was breaking that procedure or that
the
principle, I guess
yeah,
is the word I'm looking
Code of
for.
ethics is pretty specific.
It is very specific.
And referring to that, there are several specific things that, that are, almost, it would be nice to even have them in here, but they're covered. That can always change.
I felt the green section on what was added in this policy looked really good. I thought that it was a lot more explicit than what ours was previously.
And I like the other thing that I liked on theirs is that if there is texting, texting that the parent is included in the text, unless it's to the whole team, unless it's to a whole group. And that is in ours too.
Right, she's looking at number 5 on the second page of the ISBA policy.
Because I think that is pretty important. Because it sort of makes everything too deep, where it's not just a single, that's really a very private conversation with a student, where if you just make sure you loop the parent in, or it's to a whole group, like the whole team, the whole, whatever.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
There's a lot of discussion about that one, because where that falls in, the big difference is sometimes, if you look at here where it says rules concerning district-sponsored social media activity, the ISBA policy is very specific on the steps that they want you to follow before you do that. I know that this gives a lot of examples of what that you should and shouldn't do. It just doesn't have it scripted. So I would assume that coaches use a variety of different platforms to be able to let their players or their athletes know when practice is, those types of things. So it's probably not just one specific.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that needs to be included in here? Or?
I really think that's kind of, definitely your decision if you feel that way. I really feel that this policy is what, if you look on the second page, and if it says if a district employee seeks to use social media or electronic methods, and you look at all of those bullet points, there's more bullet points there that tell them the specifics than if you were to go over and look at the rules. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that it's covered pretty thoroughly.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments or anything like that?
No, I think a lot of those bullet points match up with the numbers. It's
I thought
just
so
a little
too.
more clear for those reading out on the bullet points. So,
I guess the one thing that I would just ask is, does anybody have any changes before we bring it back next week for adoption?
I need to see it without all the edits.
that does make it
I can send you a clean version if that will help.
I'm jumping around.
Yeah, and I guess I would only just say that bullet that says introducing yourself as,
Make sure that that
identifying
stays.
yourself. I would like that to stay.
I think it's.
Do you know where that
there.
one was?
Yeah,
from?
I don't, and maybe,
was
I'm
gonna
not
say,
looking in the
I
right spot, but
think
where it was
when I
before, it's not
Put
there.
it in, because it was previously in board docs.
Yes,
then I moved it
and
to
then
Assembly.
when you moved
And I
it
think
over.
it reordered some stuff. I think it's still in there because I didn't take anything out. So I'll just go through it as a clean
Oh.
version and make sure that's there.
Oh, okay, because I was reading, I'm like, wait, where is that? So maybe it is somewhere else.
Okay.
I would
But
agree
yes,
with
I'll
that.
make
I
sure.
do think that's important.
Okay.
I think it's important to know that, because it's
I
a
would
reflection
agree.
on the entire district. I can't think of anything else that
My guess is it maybe is down there, Renee, on that bottom where that publicly criticizing the school or district's administration.
I think so. Okay, other than that, no other changes before third reading?
Nope, thank you.
Thank you.
There was one thing about, you know what? I can't find it right now, so I'll just talk to you about it. Okay. Okay, so whoops. Oh, this is just jumping everywhere. So the next item on the agenda is the capital improvements program, presented by Jonathan Balls.
Good afternoon, board members. You have a couple attachments in your board packet. If you'll direct yourself to the addendum. That's because we got those preliminary numbers on Wednesday, but then on Thursday we had our a big capital improvement plan committee meeting, and so some of those recommendations were included in the addendum. So if you'll reference that attachment, and then just again, this is just of information. It will be looked at again once over by tomorrow, and then kind of dissect into a presentation mode, and then it will be up for preliminary action next Tuesday. So I'm starting on this one that kind of is a summary page that has draft everywhere at the top of it. Again, this is the same that we kind of went through last month as well. In addition, however, I have added, there's a donation section, City of Pocatello for the Highland tennis courts of $500,000. That's what you just recently approved. So that has been incorporated into this amount. Down below the expenditures, and we'll look at the replacement schedules, recurring maintenance, as well as the additional major projects at the end. You can see, again, we present a balanced amount there, having a slightly excess in revenue there that we used for, as you are very familiar with the bidding process, that we again, just good budgeting, that we do have a little bit of excess that we can use if needed. The next, if you slide down, is again just in the pie graph of our revenues. You can see overwhelming amount, again, our property taxes from our taxpayers go to help our facilities be maintained and in excellent condition for our learners and for our staff. The next page that I'm on is the summary of replacement schedules. Again, it lists all of the different bid packages, different crafts of the replacement schedules, and what we're recommending, what we're budgeting for the 26-27 school year compared to this current school year that we are in. And then you can kind of go through there and look at those different sections. Again, if it's in major projects, it is not in this replacement schedule. And on the next sheet is what I've tried to identify those. So now I'm on to the replacement schedule on the left, and then possible facility and location, and then of course the final to be determined as we go through, as we look at bids, make sure the bids come in reasonable. So as you kind of go through there, I've highlighted in blue the ones that are in the major projects. I wanted down in the fire safety systems, you'll notice that the Pocatello High School is scheduled to get a fire system upgrade. This is included in the major projects, and I just wanted to, we have met with the fire marshal because of just the large nature of this project. It will take over 18 months to complete this project, and so it will be in 2 fiscal years. And our fire marshal even said that this will be the largest fire security system in our community, even more than any of the other centers or the hotels and so forth. And so again, on the next page, that's included in the major projects. So as you kind of go through there, there's a listing of elementary schools, secondary schools, even some departments in there as well. This is probably as good a place as any. As you'll notice, slightly past halfway, the outdoor athletic facilities. Last month, we reported just on the Highland High School tennis, and we'll talk more about that as we look at our major projects. But you'll also notice that we've included the Irving track, and that we discussed it at length in the committee, and that we felt like, again, by way of history, I think we've talked about this, that Irving was the first track that was taken out and replaced, and we've learned a lot of things since then as we did Alameda. And so as we talked about the committee, we talked that we are recommending that we replace the Irving track from its current 2-lane to a 3-lane, and add a 100-meter dash kind of little straightaway. This is, if you go up Alameda, that would be the exact same way that Alameda's track is. So again, we're recommending that goes from a 2-lane to a 3-lane. We put it in the replacement schedules. We have a budget in there for about $200,000 to do that, and we feel that would bring up this the Irving track similar to the Alameda track.
My concern, do you want to go through everything and then we discuss, or do you want to talk about this track right now?
Whatever you'd like, Madam Chair.
Well, and you're in charge, though.
No, you're in charge. I'm presenting. So sure, yeah. Since I brought it up, yeah. This is the only place that this is at. So sure.
Okay,
Like
so
to have
the
some
extensive discussion that you're talking about, we talked about, where practices would be held, where meets would be held, and it was said that all the meets would be at Franklin, which would mean that they would only have one day to practice on Fridays. And I'm not good with that. And to me, I feel like if we're going to tear it out and do it again, I just feel like we should do it right and do it a 6-lane. Because if we have 2 middle school full tracks, all the middle school meets actually can be, without having one school consistently have 1 or 2 days less of practice for the entire season. They can be, and I guess my reasoning behind that is that there are options for soccer fields. And in the city, the county, and we did have a little snafu during COVID, but the Portneuf Foundation bought the equipment and funded that and made sure so that will not happen again. Because I talked to a county commissioner about that. So that won't happen again, because we were kind of short for a little bit because the fields weren't very well maintained, but that is taken care of. And I know that in the past we've had, anyway. So another option that I guess along with this, it just came to me this morning. I was thinking on that Highland bid, it's for $700,000, and $500 of it will be paid for by the city. So we definitely could make that use of the rest of. It wouldn't cost even the rest of that to do this Irving track. But I was thinking, does that include that $700,000 bid? Does that include tearing out the existing tennis courts?
It does not. That was. That for Highland, that amount was just to basically prepare the ground across the site. I will mention, because again, it is very clear that $500,000 should be for Highland tennis courts.
Right.
So, we wouldn't be
No, I mean,
earmark
it's
that
just a
any
credit in
remaining
our-
amount, but it
Oh, no,
would
it's
go
just-
into the revenue amount there.
Right, I'm just saying it's a credit
Sure.
in our
Anything.
account.
Okay.
And so I'm saying the credit that would go
Well-
to our account.
So to ask a question on that question, it said 700,000 for the Highland tennis courts.
Sure.
Does that 700,000 include the city contribution?
It
or
does.
no?
It does not. So that's we anticipate that will be the cost of
Okay.
the amount. And that's how if you go back to that, and that's just how kind of the school accounting works. All the revenues go into. I like it like an hourglass. All the revenues go into the top part, and the expenditures are on the bottom. And at the end, you know, we want some in the revenue side at the top. So that 500,000 just went into the revenue amount, but definitely earmarked for the Highland tennis courts. But we anticipate the total cost will be 700,000 or less for that Highland tennis courts.
So does that kind of free up the 500,000 from the city to go to other projects?
Again, it needs to be earmarked. We need to say that, you know, that 500,000 is for Highland tennis courts. But yes, it will free up some, you know, possibly some other projects. And if, I have some comments, but I'll let you finish,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
And I was just also going to say, the discussion we had last time with the bathrooms was that, you know, almost $500,000 for the set of, you know, that it ended up costing for Hawthorne. We kind of all were thinking that that was a lot. And so, but that's what was budgeted in our SIP, to do that again at Irving. And so then if we scale that back and reduce that budget, then that would also free up.
Okay, and
money.
we'll definitely, I am going to get to the
Okay.
Irving
And the
bathrooms
reason
as
I
well.
asked, I'll just say really quick, the reason I ask about if that money, if it was included in, you know, tearing up the tennis courts, the plan is to tear up the old tennis courts, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I know there was some talk about maybe bus parking, but I was going to suggest that Highland doesn't have a soccer field, and we could put a soccer field there, because with the room on the one side of the tennis courts, the room on the other side of the tennis courts, there would be enough room, and then that would free up where Highland practices at Alameda, then that would be the venue that then Pocatello could practice. Anyway, just a suggestion. It just came to me this morning.
Madam Chair, if I make some comments, and then I'd love to hear from the rest of the board. Starting with that last one, my only thoughts on that one is, again, we started this whole process because Highland needed parking. And so that's what I would still kind of recommend that we, and again, this would part of be the phase 3 for Highland, which won't happen until the summer of '27. So again, I was going to talk about this next week, but again, the board will definitely have ample discussion time about this space where the old tennis courts are. But my initial thoughts were up in that Highland campus, I think parking would be important there. You mentioned practices, and I've talked to Ms. Wilkes, and I think we're all on the same page that it definitely wasn't the intention to put this 6-lane track at Franklin and to hurt the Franklin track athletes by not having practice. And in my mind, that's a procedural thing that we can, you know, work with the school and make sure that no athletes, specifically track athletes at Franklin, get unfair practice time and so forth. So back,
And can I respond also to that practice time? Because I do understand that they will get practice time, just not on the track. And
Well,
to me, that's
Sure,
also not
and-
acceptable, because, I mean, you can condition as a basketball athlete in a weight room, but unless you are in a gym, that's the skill.
Yeah. And I
it's the
guess,
same with track. You have
Yep.
to be on a track. 'Cause
and I totally agree with you, and I think it's possible, right? So we haven't even gone through a track season with the new Franklin track. Again, it's just all conversations now, but I definitely think obviously they need to be on that track, and I believe with the high school tracks, with the Franklin, with the Hawthorne track, Pocatello's track, that could
All
be
right. Can I ask a-
accomplished.
Point of order or point of question, I don't know. So, given I'm not on the SIP committee, this conversation that we're still talking tracks is kind of, I don't know where it's coming from. So am I understanding that, so we went ahead and did the 6-lane on Franklin, but that's now creating a problem for Franklin because people want to use that as it was designed now for, and proposed for meets for the whole district. And so now we're looking at changing someone else's tracks because now we took them out too early, too soon, or it was the first one, and now they need to be redone because we took them out
Okay.
too much.
Well,
so many years
that was
ago.
in reference to Jim's comment at our last board.
Correct.
meeting.
I will.
And I
This is-
apologize,
that's
I'm
what-
just trying to get.
No,
caught
no,
up to
you're
speed.
perfect.
that's-
You're perfectly fine. So.
If you want to,
suggest a 6-lane track there?
no, you suggested tearing it out. Anyway, I'll let you say whatever you wanted to say. because
Do
that
I
was-
have it, am I understanding?
Correct. In my mind,
Kind of.
I know we have great administrators and coaches that will figure out the practice time. I'm very confident in that. For me, it was when Trustee Facer mentioned that, okay, should we look at, because that, it's a separate issue with the Irving track, because we knew it was only 2-lane, and it is not a true oval, it's a little bit wonky, because again, it was put in as a walking path, and it doesn't have that, again, when we did Alameda, it's like, hey, this would be great, this provides another resource, as so many middle school track athletes run the 100-yard dash, or the 100-meter dash. We do that straight away. And so that's, after that comment, again, we even clarified, Dr. Hall and I talked to Mr. Facer and clarified that his thoughts were to put it in as a 3-lane track. So yes, we are spending a little bit of money, but that's what we discussed in the committee, and which Madam Chair was part of. And so, but the committee as a whole.
Mr. Knopf as well.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
of course. But those were.
It was based on Jim's.
And, yeah, but I would love.
Our last
Yep.
meeting.
And you're right, thanks, Dr. Howell.
That's where it came from.
Where I was going was the comments, and I'd love to hear, because we talked a little bit, but the committee definitely recommended the 3-lane. So, Mr. Knopf, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but that was the recommendation of the committee, as it's kind of put there, that we do spend a little bit of money to bring that up to where, for a 3-lane track, similar to Alameda. And the last comment was just on the practice field. So again, every high school has a grass practice soccer field and a turf field. I did find out from the athletic director of Pocatello, there were 4 home soccer matches at Irving because the turf field was being used. And so Irving is being used there for practices, of course, but also for matches, soccer matches as well. And so that's where, again, I think it's a nice balance between upgrading Irving track to a 3-lane track, but also maintaining a soccer field close to Pocatello High School that is our own, that we don't have to rely on the city or the county, to be able to use that. We have our own facility. It kind of balances that. So anyway, those are my comments. I kind of shared some of those in the committee, but I'd love to hear what your thoughts. And again, nothing for action. We're discussing. But yes, we would like to, the sooner we can make decisions by next week, it does help us in the bidding process. But as you know, this is just the first time we're going to talk about all these different projects.
Did you want to share?
No, I just think that Jonathan summarized everything very accurately and concisely and excellently, as usual.
Are we now going to get public comment that now Irving should have 6 lanes? I mean, I'm really scratching my head. I don't know how this all came about.
No, well, it came about because Jim made the comment that Irving's track was really not
Up to par.
up to par.
Well, it's not even
And
a
it wasn't
practice
fair
track,
to
really.
them versus
Yeah.
Alameda's is usable and Franklin's is
And
usable.
that's where the committee is recommending
that's where
putting it
it
as a
comes
3-lane
I guess what I'm
track.
saying is I missed that all the way along, that Alameda was not, somehow I missed that all the way along.
Irving.
Or Irving
Irving,
did
yeah.
not have a track at all, really.
Well, the original plan was to take the tracks out at all the middle schools and only put a walking path in. And the original plan didn't even include rubberization or the lanes. And so that kind of went with the first original plan. It was just a walking path. That's why it's not the right size. It's not like it really isn't intended. But then after, we had a lot of issues and things, it was rubberized and, but it was a walking path that was rubberized. And so you could say your opinion.
Well, I just, my whole thing was that Irving really needed a track they could practice on. There was give them the right advantage or benefits to how they should be running a track. I mean, when they run their 100-yard, when they practice their 100-yard dash, 100-meter dash, I mean, they're corner to corner, they're not a straightaway, they don't have a straightaway. And they still don't even have a true 440 around the track, I don't know. But I just wanted them to be able to have something that was helping them be practicing right. And I remember that, I mean, it was brought up in our meetings and when we started talking 6 lanes at Franklin, that it was brought up, and I believe it was brought up by one of the coaches at Franklin, that they could hold all their track meets there. And my thought was, I don't know that that's a good idea or not, but because of practice time for their young kids. But, I mean, we could still go to the high schools and have our track meets at the high schools like we've been doing.
I just want to back Jim up on that. I think that it is advantageous for Irving to have a good practice track instead of a make-do practice.
Yes.
Aren't they like 1 or 2 number-wise in the middle schools, like
Oh,
student
enrollment-wise?
capacity-wise? Yeah.
Number of participants?
No, just as a school building.
The
Don't
enrollment.
they have,
number of
As a school.
students. No, just the number of students.
I thought when we were doing enrollment last year, they were like
Yeah.
1 or 2 on the enrollment list on.
I just know that
So-
when I talked to their coach, their AD there, when this was all back when I disagreed with it the first time, I said, what do you think about this idea? And he said that there was like 200 kids that come out for track. It's not small. It's a lot larger than a soccer team.
And they did very
But
well.
it's a lot more able to move to another field, especially high school.
Yeah.
Because Highland goes clear to Alameda to practice. It's a distance, but it works.
And
And
if-
there are so many soccer fields as options.
But I think if Pokey's using that soccer field, I mean, rather than us paying to rent a soccer field to use, I think that's a good field to use.
And that's what the committee kind of thought as well, so that's what we're just.
Yeah, a compromise there.
Yeah.
And one other point I will make is that Idaho Falls and other cities don't have any soccer fields in their district. They all use city
No,
facilities.
they don't
Or
have
all
any
of
soccer
them.
fields in their middle schools. They do.
In their district.
Yeah.
It's all owned by the city,
Yeah.
is what was said at the meeting.
And it's the same as tennis courts, yep, it is just different communities.
Just different
Back
ways.
100
that-
years ago, yep, the city of Idaho Falls took over soccer fields and tennis courts, and schools weren't involved. But for us, in our community, we have been, the tennis courts. And that's what as we discussed with the city, that was their rationale, the city council, as Ms. Wilkes and I were there, is that, it's cheaper for the city to donate this 500,000 than to go secure land to, build a full new tennis court for their public.
Yeah, but the city does maintain and
Yeah.
have a lot of soccer fields, and they are available. So that was just my point.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question? This is totally unrelated to sports.
Yep, yeah, we can keep going.
PV Tech boilers,
Oh, yeah.
what is the status?
It's just, we've spent maybe 20 or 30,000 just to keep them up. They're the original boilers. They're okay. Again, they were put in there for a lot of computers and a lot of people in that building. And so they're fine, and we can continue to maintain them with some maintenance dollars, but if we felt like we should, replace those.
So this is replacement?
This is the replacement there. Again, I think they were just planning a lot of the heat that comes from the computers and a lot more people in that building than we were using. So they're adequate, but we would just bring them up to our standards.
I see.
Excellent question,
So,
excellent question.
so are you saying that because they're larger than what you need, that
No, a little,
it's more?
it's a little more.
They're
smaller.
smaller?
Correct.
Oh,
Just a little
'cause
bit.
I would have thought
That's what I was
that more
thinking, yeah.
computers would require.
Well, we added.
But
on
not
to the
boilers,
building.
yeah.
Oh, after adding onto the building?
Yeah,
That's
we
what
added
made
onto the
difference.
building as well as, they had more AC because again, they're the summer, right? Where we don't have school in the summer and all those computers, they needed to cool it down. So they were more ramped up on the HVAC on the AC side rather than the boiler side. And again, Mr. Glenn can talk a bit about, I can get more information if you'd like on theirs, but I do know that we've
No,
been
I'm
having
just
this,
curious.
it's those that we just have to nurture
This was
along.
our shiny new building.
Yeah, yeah.
Replacing boiler.
And I could get that, and I could even get that exact amount, for you there, so. Okay, again, great discussions. I guess the last thing I'd like to cover is, as the second to last and the last page in that document. Because again, sometimes we do like to talk about tracks and we like to talk about bathrooms. Tongue in cheek there. So again, you'll see the list of major projects. Again, we've talked about this before. Century has its original roof. We need to replace that roof. In the next phase of Highland, the 3 items that we identified that we, as the committee and as administration, that we are fairly confident that the board would support would be new tennis courts, that put that new lot to the west as in parking lot, and then build a more accessible, secure entrance right inside the building so that somebody you'll see a person face to face inside as you walk into Highland. The other remaining portions, the old tennis courts, the facade, a potential parent drop-off, that will be decided probably in the spring, obviously in a work session with the board of what you want to see. Because again, that would not take place until the summer of 27, but we need to bid it, have it finalized about a year from now. So that'll start with the board, go through our SIP committee as well, and go through that process. But now to the bathrooms. Again, we've identified Irving Middle School. They're ones that are that the public uses when they come to events there in their gym. And the cost was at Hawthorne was very expensive. 2 things. One is the privacy. At Hawthorne, we went total privacy, wall, floor to ceiling, total privacy. The other part of the cost, which is even more of the cost, is the cast iron. Trying to, this cast iron pipe. So when we touch our bathrooms, we're getting rid of these leaky cast iron. So that last page is a sketch of what is what the architects and they're proposing at Highland High School for those new bathrooms. And we thought, okay, well, this is maybe good to try at Irving as well. Rather than total privacy, this is called high privacy. You'll see at the bottom left there. Again, 6-inch gap at the top, at the top, 4-inch gap at the 6'8", only in the front, not on the side. And then there's a 6-inch gap at the bottom. So
do you picture they'll look about like the Salt Lake Airport bathroom stalls?
it's been a while
You
since
been
I've
in
been
the
to the
women's
Salt Lake.
bathroom?
I have not been to the women's bathroom. I can say
I
that
just
for sure.
assume, I
It's
know.
been a
I'm just-
while.
I'm
It's been a while since I've been to Salt Lake Airport.
But I'm sure that they're the same in there.
Probably pretty close. High privacy. And then, so I reduced the cost. It was in the 400,000. I reduced the cost just a little bit. Obviously bidding, we'll know for sure. We would replace the cast iron pipe, but then also change the entrance so that it would not have a door on it. But again, we feel with these high privacies that you still won't be able to see, shoes, that we'll be able to have a camera there that will basically shoot down the middle of that, showing the sinks on one side, and then these high privacy stalls
Out in the hallway.
on the other side,
Looking.
correct, looking down. So we accomplish, again, our goal here is to accomplish the, high privacy that will hopefully decrease vandalism, any mischievousness there, but also give us a little more reasonable price so that this could be used at other schools a little bit less expensive.
I know that you said a lot of the cost was that each individual stall at Hawthorne had to have its separate HVAC, fire suppression.
Correct, yeah, that's-
everything. And with this option, it will not.
It will not, correct. It's just those 6-inch gaps allows, so that is part of the cost savings. Again, the majority is, or at least the good portion of the cost is that cast iron pipe. And again, as you know, every remodel is just a little bit different. This one, I anticipate will come in less. Or the next one might be, if we continue to do this, it might be a little bit more just because of what that floor looks like. Okay.
So that pipe's embedded in the concrete, right?
The good thing at Irving, this is not concrete. This is actually wood floor.
Oh, is it?
So that's where I know it's going to come in at a good price. But again, we'll celebrate that, and then we'll go to the next school, and it might go up, because you're right. If it's in concrete, it's a little bit
Or below
harder.
concrete?
Oh, my, I
Yeah.
don't know. How-
It's a lot harder. Again, each school has its own challenges, but again, we feel like this is good to at least start, and Hawthorne has their, Highland will have this one a year from now. Excitedly about. Yeah, a year from now, this will be there. And then over the summer, if the board approves, Irving would have one as well.
And the bathrooms at Hawthorne, I mean, they're doing what
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Supposed to be doing?
They're
I
amazing.
need to get over there, but no vandalism in them, no.
Not that I know. Yeah, it's almost 100%. I mean, obviously it shifted,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it shifted to the upstairs.
Oh.
So they, yeah. But again, that's at least less administration, less teachers have to monitor,
Right.
because they know that those bathrooms are really good and secure, and they don't,
Right.
they'll have those issues.
So
And
just to clarify real quick, sorry, the bottom, it's a 6-inch gap
It is.
on the bottom, and so then the doors, is that say 6'2"?
Yes,
So
6'2".
it's like
Yep.
6'8" to the top.
Takes it to the top, correct.
Okay,
And it's only from the front side. Yeah,
So you can open the door.
yeah.
yep, so you can,
I don't know many people that can reach up to 6'8" and do much, but
sure, yeah,
that's what I was wondering,
of anything. And again,
measurement.
this component, this high privacy allows us to provide that camera. So if somebody is being dingling, something with a phone or something, I mean, it's on the camera.
Yeah.
As far as cameras in the other bathrooms that aren't secure, we have them in the hallways, right?
All in the hallways.
You can see times of when people come in and out.
Correct. We just can't see, hey, you were in this stall and the vandalism in that stall or something. That extra level has just minimized or almost eliminated at Hawthorne, the vandalism and the issues that they have there.
Great.
Okay?
So at this cost, potentially you could do a 2-for-1?
So it will, this cost is both boys and girls.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is for both of them.
Well, yeah, the same idea, same
Yeah.
set.
Yeah. And again, just as always, as you remember last year, I mean, we'll go out to bid, with these specs, and the board's kind of helping us, okay, what parameters will we go out to bid with? But then you'll approve those bids as well, just like you've gone to, and modifications could be made. The sooner that we make the modifications in the process, the least expensive it is. But that's, so, anyway, so that's kind of what we have in SIP. Anyway, think about it. Again, the presentation next week will almost just be little snippets of these exact same documents. So we can talk about it again if you have any issues. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the school board. And, okay, so we're going to do that first, the school board annual meeting schedule.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That'll be for me. And if you'll just pull up that attachment, you can see that we are proposing essentially the same schedule that we have had in many of the past years. And so it is second and third Tuesdays, of course, with work session, regular meetings, and then alternating Wednesdays as placeholders for student hearings. A couple of the yellow items for you are the special meetings, convention, graduation, and so forth. The times that we are proposing, and certainly you can have a week to think about this, because like the other items we've discussed today, it'll be up for action next week. Whether we maintain the 3:30 work session, 4 o'clock student discipline hearings, if that is working for your schedules. And then, of course, regular board meeting has pretty much been established for decades at 5:30. So that is your proposed meeting schedule for 26, 27. Well, no, excuse me, starting, 26 and
Yes.
all of
And
26.
then
There we
January
go.
27.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, I don't think it needs to be on here, but I would really like to do school visits. Maybe we can plan for, we were doing every other week.
And those are always wide open. You're welcome to just tell us where you'd like to go, and we'll get you fixed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have one tentatively, right? Working with the food services and then.
Yes. And then the other thing I used to put out, I didn't really do it as a formal schedule for board adoption, but an informal one that I emailed to the whole board of kind of a set, this is where you're going to go in January, February, et cetera.
I missed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
forget.
I would,
And then I think it just got rescheduled or missed a lot to where it kind of went away, or there was particular schools people wanted to go to that didn't match up with the schedule, so it was just kind of like, let me know when
Well,
you
and
want
I
to
also
go.
think with Ray and Megan having, they had to catch up real quickly to a lot of schools all
Yeah.
at once. But I think now we're at a point where we could.
So I think if you're at a
Rotation
point where we
again.
could do kind of a more routine,
I think we
schedule.
should, because I think they need to know that that's why we're here.
okay.
Is
Yeah,
to
I
support that.
absolutely can put that back together.
So,
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay. The other item, Madam Chair, is the meetings of the board policy 2201, and that'll be up for first reading for you next week. I'm going to have Ms. Johnson take you through some of the timelines and the new codes.
Yes. So I will tell you that the first part, in the open meeting law and compliance area, the new green, sorry, I'll talk more in the mic. The new green is really to outline our process, because originally it only had what was required by Idaho code, but we have always strove to get our agendas and materials posted well in advance of our meetings. So right now, we had a process where the board or the chair could request something be added 6 days in advance, and I'm just moving, or actually, I think I left it. Or no, I changed that to 5 days, because we're starting to post and publish our meetings for regular board meeting on the Wednesday prior to. So instead of being posted and published on Friday, those are now being posted and published on Wednesdays. So that would kind of limit the timeline for, okay, if you want something on the agenda, let us know a little bit earlier, instead of having such that long.
and so I guess my concern with that is that I wanted the board to be able to have at least 3 days of a final agenda with the attachments. Because if the attachments aren't there, that's where a lot of the reading is and a
Right.
lot of the time it takes to get through it. And so that's really, I guess, when this was brought up, my concern was that before it's publicly posted, I just feel like that the board needs 3 to 5 days.
Okay, so
To
before.
be able
are you
to
talking about
read it.
Before public access?
Yep,
Okay,
yep. So that, because I mean, if it goes out to the public at the same time we're seeing it, that's really hard.
okay, in what way?
Because we won't have a chance to ask, what is this? Ask any background information. I mean, the press, I mean, to everyone. It goes out to everybody, and then it sort of has the potential to blindside us. So everyone else can, I mean, we all talked about this,
Yeah, I
actually.
think for me, it was more like when it came out on a Friday, there wasn't time to read it thoroughly, even though it was still, I mean, I can see where you're saying it can start the questions, but then that should give us those extra 2 or 3 days to get back to someone versus when it came out on Friday, the district was closed, there was only Monday maybe.
And I don't think that we have ever sent materials in advance to the board without publishing or
Publishing.
posting our meeting for the public. So that would be a different
We
discussion.
haven't, we've sent out draft agendas.
The draft
Right.
agenda is.
Yeah,
what
With
to
the
look at
topic, but not the
topics.
materials.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when will the
because-
draft agenda get put out? At the
Yeah,
same
that was,
time?
that
Which
was.
that can be done at any time. I can have a draft sent to you like 3 months in advance if you wanted.
Well, it
But
does,
just the
doesn't
agenda.
help if it doesn't have the attachments.
Right, so
'cause
that's a whole
where-
different discussion. So I would probably need to look into that a little bit more about what the ramifications for open meeting are with having early access to all these materials before we publish our
Actually
packet.
have a meeting.
Yeah, and have a
Right. Mm-hmm.
meeting, yes. Very much so.
Are the attachments going to be there Wednesday then?
Yes,
So I think that's,
Well, the problem I've had is though sometimes it, like, things were posted like late afternoon, just before the meeting, you know? And so sometimes, I
like
mean, I would,
addendum items, is that what you?
yeah, I would
referred
even
to?
check
Like
that
we-
afternoon before I came, and then I would come in and something had been added, you know, in just like an hour or something, or 90 minutes previous to the meeting. So the sooner we could get, you know, especially when we have some complicated issues to look at, and there's a lot of information, the sooner we can get it and have a chance to look at it, the better I would like it.
Yeah, I've really liked the 5 days that we've had lately.
Mhm.
You know, start on Wednesday. And I think if someone were to ask me questions that I didn't know in that time, I could say, hey, I can talk to them tomorrow. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, that's
I'm
really
okay
one of
with
those
that.
things where you shouldn't be having those conversations with the public regardless, and just tell them to come to the meeting. The materials are available. We'll be talking about it Tuesday. You really shouldn't be answering their questions anyhow,
Okay,
so.
I like that.
You know, I guess the only comment I would make is the sooner that we can get the material to look it over, especially sometimes we've had a heavy load of things, or we've have complicated issues we're looking at. And it would be nice, the sooner we could get it, the better. But what's really difficult is if it shows up the same day as the meeting, and that is, you know, even in the late afternoon.
And we do
And
try and
other-
avoid that.
Yeah,
That's really.
I'm not trying to
that's
be,
like-
I'm not
yeah.
trying to be
No,
critical.
but it does happen, and for sure, we,
No,
like,
and I
when it
think we
happens,
are
we're like,
working, as
I don't like addendums.
Ms. Johnson said, we're striving to do
Yeah.
better.
Right,
And
I
think
understand.
as executive committee, we've
Adjusted our
yeah,
schedules for pulling
and-
materials,
And
so.
being better with the attachments rather than putting them in an addendum last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There may be a slight change in the addendum when you get here from what it was originally, HR report and that sort of
Right,
thing.
or like the SIP where it was like some numbers were adjusted.
Yeah,
or,
so
you know,
some
more
dynamics may
accurate
change
the
slightly.
day of, but the full content was there.
Yeah. If it's just small adjustments, I don't
Mm-hmm. Yes.
see, that's really not what my
Okay,
concern
yes,
was.
we will
so.
Yeah.
continue to do our best.
I guess too, as far as public comments too, sometimes that, you know, and again, I don't know, again, and this is not to be critical at all, because you have a difficult job and you do it well. We're just talking about how we would like to optimize things. But sometimes we get a whole bunch of public comments and you know, and again, you have no influence over when you receive them. And so, but the sooner that we can get any of that stuff, the better. But some, you know, or school closures or whatever we're talking about, cell phone policies, and then, you know, man, all these, and I like to read them, and I like to read them before the meeting. And so, but I realize you can't control when you
Well,
get them.
and quite frankly,
it's
like,
posted.
that's part of it is board policy, because the policy for public comment and written comment says that the public will give their written comment 24 hours in advance, or it may or may not be included in the meeting if they don't. So you could direct that to be, we don't want to read or discuss or whatever unless it's been submitted this much, you know, in advance. 'cause-
I wouldn't do that, but, because they can come to the meeting.
Right,
Like,
so that's,
then
what
it puts
yeah, that's just
everybody
how
at it.
the process, though,
Everyone
you
has to be
can
treated the same, so.
control that process a little bit better if you have.
No, I agree with what both of you have said. I mean, we want the input, and if it comes in late,
Right.
that's great. And if it's posted, then maybe we'll get a chance to see it, but rather than, we don't want to limit content. But we could certainly encourage people to have it
Yeah.
before 24 hours, and so that the board can have a chance really to take a look at it before
Right.
the meeting occurs.
And we do try that. But
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
thank
I
you.
I do think the 5 days will help with all of it, because the public comment will come in then earlier. So.
That's true.
All of it will be a lot easier than the public comment coming in
The day before the
maybe
meeting.
through the weekend, because it's Friday at the end of the day that it's was posted, and then it was Monday. And so and it wasn't really a chance for people to really know what was on the agenda and really be informed. So I think this will be helpful.
Okay. Let's see. Further down, there's just some corrections in how things are worded. And then at the end, there's just some updates on the privileged and incidental motions, where before we had said that the board could not use those per Idaho code. I was able to talk to our legal counsel, and they said as long as we included the Roberts Rules incidental motion on all of our agendas, we could take any of those, or make any of those motions and take action at any meeting. So if you notice on the work session agenda, I did include the Roberts Rules protocols on there so that you guys are able to use those, and if needed, vote. That way we're covered there. I also added that to our order of business for regular meetings, and I updated the first part, the call to order, welcome, and roll call, because that's how we've always done it as we're going through the meeting, but the way that the meeting was ordered was kind of backwards, so that's just a fix there. And that's it for changes. So if everybody's good with those, we'll bring those for first reading next week.
Are there any other
That's it.
questions or comments? You had a chance to read it, okay. All right, if there is nothing else, then I would, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 My